It's been a rough week for crude oil, with the near daily eyebrow-raising incidents impacting the prices. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Holly Shields here for kalkinemedia. Let's take a look. Crude oil prices galloped on Monday last week, with the benchmark Brent Crude hitting more than 3-year highs on expectations that the global supply will remain tight in the future amid restrained output by leading oil producers. A significant rise in demand is expected despite the rising concerns related to the spread of Omicron. March delivery Brent crude oil futures were up by 0.09%, whereas March delivery WTI crude futures traded 0.64% up on the 17th of January. Frantic oil buying was also seen, triggered by hopes that the variant won't be able to dent oil demand. Prices hit above 3-year highs on Monday upon expectations that the global energy demand will rise despite concerns over Omicron and tight oil supplies. Again on Tuesday, crude oil reached 7-year high levels on worries about global political unrest involving major oil producers like Russia and the UAE, which could intensify the already tight supply outlook. The staggering rise in prices of both the benchmark was witnessed despite a surge in global coronavirus cases. March delivery Brent crude oil futures were up by 0.50%, whereas March delivery WTI crude futures traded 0.18% up. The damage to the oil facilities in the UAE following the attacks by Yemen's Houthi group raised the concern of even more supply disruptions in the region this year. As a result of the attack, ADNOC, the UAE oil company, has activated business continuity plans to ensure an uninterrupted supply of products to the local and international customers following the incident at the Musafah fuel depot. The next day on Wednesday, crude oil settled over a 7-year high level following an outage in a pipeline laid from Iraq to Turkey. The issue boosted the supply concerns in the mind of investors concerned with an already tight short-term supply outlook. March delivery Brent crude oil futures were down 0.52%, whereas the WTI crude oil futures traded 1.03% down. And although Turkey's Kirkuk-Ceyhan pipeline exploded due to a power pylon, it resumed flows later that day. And finally on Thursday, crude oil prices inched lower after reaching 7-year highs a day earlier on concerns related to tight supplies. March delivery Brent crude oil futures were down 2.85%, whereas WTI crude oil futures traded 1.55% lower on the 21st of January. As per the US Energy Department, crude oil stocks rose by over 500,000 barrels last week. And at the same time, gasoline inventories jumped 5.9 million barrels, the highest in a year. Well, after such an action-packed week, it'll be interesting to see what's to come for crude oil prices in the near term. Now that you're up to speed, check out some of the other videos to stay up to date. I'm Holly Shields for kalkinemedia.